two men were cleaning Gordon after he had acted rather foolishly and ended up rolling off the turntable and into a muddy ditch.
"Mind my eyes," grumbled Gordon.
"Have you ever seen so much mud?" said one of the cleaners.
"No, I haven't," said the other. "You ought to be ashamed, Gordon, letting yourself get so dirty." "But," thought Gordon, "I don't have time to worry about my appearance like some engines do."
The hosing and scrubbing suddenly stopped. Gordon opened his eyes, but quickly closed them again when he saw who was standing in front of him.
"Wake up, Gordon," said Sir Topham Hatt, "and listen to me. Given your recent behaviour, I've decided that you will pull no more coaches until you prove to me that you can be a really useful engine. Perhaps pulling trucks for a while will teach you a lesson." "Yes, sir," said Gordon quietly.
So Gordon had to spend his time pulling and pushing trucks.
"Goods trains," he muttered. "Oh, the shame of it."
And he bumped the trucks again.
"Help, help, help!"
cried the trucks as he shunted them around the yard. James was standing nearby watching him. "Trucks will be trucks," he said.
"They won't with me," grunted Gordon. "I'll teach them." "They tried to push me down the hill this morning," he explained. "It's slippery there, so you'll probably need help."
"I don't need help on hills," huffed James. Gordon laughed and headed off to get ready for his next goods train.
"Come on, James," said his driver. "It's almost time for the express."
And with that, James puffed away to collect his waiting coaches. The guard soon blew his whistle and James puffed away. Come on," he puffed to the coaches. The train was soon running nicely, and James began to feel confident. Slippery hills indeed. I don't need help, he puffed. James soon arrived at the next
I know I
station.
can do that a little
He
bit
was
quicker,
feeling
but I just
very
wanted to
pleased
be
with himself.
consistent.
But he kept thinking about what Gordon had said. I'll show Gordon who needs help on hills, he said to himself. But soon, James reached the bottom of the hill. Strong winds from the sea made the hill hard to climb. Leaves fallen from the nearby trees were now covering the rails, and the recent rainfall meant that they were too heavy to be blown away by the wind. I'll do it, he puffed. But his wheels slipped on the leaves. I must do it, he panted. But try as he might, his wheels kept on slipping, and he couldn't pull the train at all. Help! Help! Cried James. His wheels were turning forwards, but the heavy coaches pulled him backwards, and soon the whole train started slipping down the hill. James's driver applied the brakes, then going carefully reversed the train back down the hill, and they headed back to the station. When they arrived, they found Gordon waiting, who had seen everything. I thought you said you could climb hills, he chuckled. James didn't answer. He had no steam left to say anything. Ah, well, we live and learn, said Gordon. Never mind, little James. I'm going to push from behind. Whistle when you're ready. I'm ready, called James. So am I, replied Gordon. Pull hard. We'll do it, puffed James. steam towered from the snorting engines as they struggled up the hill. "We can do it," puffed James.
We will do it, puffed Gordon.
Finally, the two engines reached the top.
We've done it! We've done it!
They puffed. The two weary engines were puffed out, but they continued onwards to the next station. It wasn't long before they arrived. "Thank you, Gordon," whistled James. Gordon whistled goodbye as he watched James puff away. Then slowly, he trundled back to his waiting trucks. Jack Frost. One evening, Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds.
There's a big freeze coming tonight, he said. James and Percy, I need you to deliver extra coal to the stations.
"Yes, sir," they said eagerly, and Sir Topham Hatt walked away. "You better hurry," teased Thomas, "or scary Jack Frost might get you." "Who's Jack Frost?" Percy said nervously. "Don't be silly," sniffed James. "Jack Frost is not scary." "Yes, he is," teased Thomas. "He's all white with a big spiky face." "Rubbish," said James. James knew Jack Frost wasn't scary, but poor Percy wasn't so sure. Later that night, James had collected his coal trucks and set off to make his deliveries. "Silly Percy," he thought. "All steamed up over Jack Frost. The sooner we get this coal delivered, the sooner I can get back to my nice warm shed."
2. This one should be where it goes. As far as I understand this story, is you drop off 2, then 3, then 3, so you can prep it. Provided then, when it comes to dropping it, just do this. It's easier than getting out of the cab. It's about why I feel like realism mode's a good idea for the boards, because then you can just use these inside the, you have to know how to, and you have to pop out to do that.
We've reached our first stop. Let's drop off some of the coal trucks. That's one delivery complete, so let's head to our next stop.
That was close.
Here's our next station. Let's drop off some more coal. That's another delivery complete. Hopefully, all this coal is enough to keep the passengers nice and warm during this cold weather. I'm just glad that I have my firebox to keep me from getting too cold. We finally reached our last delivery, so let's drop off all the remaining trucks. That's all of the coal delivered. Now I can get back to my nice warm shed. And with that, James puffed back towards Tidmouth Sheds. Meanwhile, Percy was making his last delivery. Jack Frost is not scary. Jack Frost is not scary. Jack Frost is not scary.
Percy soon made his last delivery. The station master was very pleased to see him. "Percy," he cried, "we need twice as much coal to last through this freeze." "Don't worry," Percy said. "This is my last stop. You can have mine. My lovely warm firebox will keep me nice and cozy." So Percy's driver parked him on a siding with only a lantern for company. "Do you think Scary Jack Frost will find me?" said Percy. "Jack Frost is not scary," chuckled his driver. "And don't worry, Emily will bring you some more coal in the morning." And then his driver and fireman went home to bed. Late that night, the icy wind howled. It started to snow, and Percy's fire had almost gone out. Soon Percy's face was so cold, an icicle hung from his nose. "Oh, bother," stuttered Percy. But it didn't sound like Percy. It was so cold, he could hardly make a sound. The next morning, Emily arrived with plenty of coal for Percy. "Oh my," she said. "It looks like Jack Frost really got you then." Soon Percy was loaded with fresh coal, and his fire was soon burning nicely. It wasn't long before his ice mask melted away. "So Scary Jack Frost is only frost," puffed Percy happily, and soon he was as warm as toast. James and the Van. It was a frosty morning on the island of Sodor, and James was bringing a goods train from the Little Western. He was cold and tired, and wouldn't stop complaining. "Why couldn't Duck or Oliver do this?" he moaned. "A splendid engine like me should be pulling coaches, not these troublesome trucks." "Don't worry, James," said his fireman. "We've nearly reached the yard now, so you can have a drink and a rest before your next train." "Good," James replied. "A nice long rest will make me feel much better." Soon they arrived back at the yard. James was still feeling rather upset, and as he stood in the yard, the icy winds swirled around his smokebox.
Bother this cold weather, he shivered. Right, said his fireman. I'll jump down and uncouple the trucks. Then we can go and fetch the coaches.
He walked over to the coupling and tried to uncouple it. But try as he might, it would not budge.
What's going on back there? Asked James. I'm going to be late for my passengers. There seems to be a problem with the coupling, said his fireman at last. It looks like we're going to have to take the van with us.
What? Exclaimed James.
Pull my train and this horrible van too? No.
I probably shouldn't be watching YouTube at the same
What would
time.
the other engines think if they found out?
Great, grumbled the van. Now I'm stuck behind you for the rest of the day.
Now, come on, soothed his fireman. We must remember the passengers. We can't leave them standing out in the cold.
Fine, groaned James. The sooner we take these passengers, the sooner I can get to the works and get my coupling fixed.
Shooting this a bit.
James arrived at the platform, still cold and upset. As he watched the passengers begin to board the train, he was surprised to see that the passengers didn't take much notice of the van. That's good, he thought to himself. Maybe if the passengers don't notice, then maybe none of the other engines will. As James arrived at the station, he suddenly heard a familiar whistle. "Oh, no," said James. "It's Gordon." "Hello, little James. What are you doing coupled to that van?" asked Gordon. "Oh, is that what passes as a special coach nowadays?" Gordon puffed away, still laughing. James tried to ignore him, and it wasn't long before the guard's whistle blew and they continued on their way. James soon arrived at Wellsworth Station. As the passengers began to board, he suddenly noticed a station master talking to someone with a large wooden box. "I'm sorry, but you can't bring this on the train," said the station master. "There isn't enough space. You'll need to wait for the mail train later tonight." "But I'm performing in an important concert," explained the passenger, "and I must get myself and my piano there on time." James listened carefully, and suddenly an idea came to him. "Excuse me," he called, "but you could try putting your piano into my van. I'm sure it would fit, and it would mean you could get to your concert on time." The passenger was delighted. "That's a wonderful idea, James," said the passenger. "What a clever engine you are." James felt rather pleased with himself. "This piano is heavy," moaned the van. "Why did we have to take it?" "Do stop your complaining," puffed James. "All this fuss over one wooden box." "The piano is loaded now, so it's almost time for us to get going," said James to the passenger. So the passenger hurried quickly to their carriage, and moments later the guard blew his whistle, and James knew it was time to leave. At the next station, Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for James to arrive. He was surprised to see a goods van in front of his coaches. He was just about to ask him about it when the owner of the piano came over to see him. "This clever engine and his crew came to my rescue," he explained. "They helped me to transport my piano in time for my band's concert tonight. And James offered to help. You must be very proud of him." "Indeed I am," smiled Sir Topham Hatt. "James, your quick thinking has helped a passenger in need, and you've once again proven yourself to be a really useful engine." "Thank you, sir," puffed James proudly. "Hey, what about me?" cried the van. "I had to carry the piano." Sir Topham Hatt turned his attention to the van. "I hear you helped one of my passengers today," he said. "So I must thank you as well. You are a very useful van indeed, and you've even given me an idea. Perhaps we should consider adding vans to all our passenger trains in future." "I think that's a good idea, sir," said James. "Getting stuck to a goods van wasn't such a bad thing after all." The van was pleased, but a little embarrassed. He wasn't used to getting praise like this, and was looking forward to his next passenger train. First class engine. Early one morning, Percy arrived back at Tidmouth Sheds, very tired. "Morning, Percy," said Thomas. "You do look tired." "Yes, I am," said Percy sleepily. "I was up all night delivering the mail. It seems like there are more letters and parcels than ever." "Heh," scoffed James. "You're only a little engine. No wonder you struggle to manage those heavy vans. Perhaps Sir Topham Hatt should give the job to another engine, or even Harold. I'm sure they could manage the work." "I can manage fine on my own, thank you," said Percy firmly. "Perhaps," said a voice, "you could do with a little help,
Button to
Percy."
focus, because this is horrible.
It was Sir Topham Hatt, who had just arrived and had heard everything. "James, you think another engine should help take the mail. I think that's a very good idea, and I'm sure Percy wouldn't mind the lighter workload for a while." Percy was pleased, and James looked smug. That was until Sir Topham Hatt continued. "I'm assigning both you and Percy to tonight's mail run. You can help him collect all the letters and parcels that need to go to the mainland." James was horrified. "But, sir," he protested, "I'm supposed to be taking the express in the morning, and I can't do that if I've been busy all night pulling the mail train." "I'm sure Emily wouldn't mind taking the express in your place, James," replied Sir Topham Hatt. "Now the decision is final, so I'll hear no more about it." And Sir Topham Hatt turned and walked away. Later that night, James and Percy had collected their mail vans and were waiting for them to be loaded at Knapford Station. Percy was trying to explain to James what he had to do, but James was taking no notice. "James, you must remember to collect all the bags of mail at each station," explained Percy. "Sometimes the mail will arrive by road, so you have to be patient and wait for the van to arrive and be loaded into your train before you leave." But James was too busy thinking about getting back to his shed and waking up to pull the morning express. Just then, the guard's whistle blew, and the two engines set off. "Good luck, James," said Percy. "I'll manage fine, thank you," James grumbled. Silly Percy, thinking I can't manage a few bags of mail. It can't be that difficult.
Come on, James. Let's get going.
Right, let's get all this mail loaded into the vans. Then we can be on our way. That's all the mail from this station. Let's get going. The sooner we finish collecting all this mail, the sooner I can get back
Need to
to
be
my
really
ship.
careful with the click inputs on these. If you double click too fast, it locks you in place and you can't.
It looks like the station master is waiting for us.
Hello, James, said the station master. Some of the mail arriving by road has been delayed, so you'll need to wait for it to arrive. In the meantime, here is the rest of the mail for you.
Bother, muttered James. This is sure to make me late now. Come on, driver. We can't afford to be late.
Wait, James, wait, called the station master.
But James didn't stop. He was determined not to be late and wanted to prove he was better than Percy.
As James arrived at Marron Station, the station master ran up to him looking rather upset. James, he said, I've had a phone call from the station master at Wellsworth, and he tells me that you didn't wait for the mail to arrive by road. James felt foolish. Now, continued the station master, we have arranged for the mail to be brought here. So please, can you wait for it to arrive? It's vital that this important mail reaches its destination on time. This time, James listened carefully, and suddenly an idea came to him.
If I deliver all the important mail, he thought, then I'm sure that Sir Topham Hatt will say I'm really useful. Maybe even more useful than Percy.
Don't worry, sir, said James to the station master.
I promise I'll wait for the mail to arrive and make sure it gets to the mainland in time.
That's a good engine, smiled the station master. The mail won't be long now, so you'll soon be on your way again. So James waited for the mail to arrive. He didn't have to wait long. He heard a car horn coming from nearby,
and then watched as a red post van pulled into the station car park. Soon the important mail was loaded, and James puffed quickly away. He was determined to make up for lost time, but was even more determined to prove that he could be as patient as Percy.
God, this level's long. It's already been 20 minutes of going through.
Just one more stop to make. Then we are finished for the night.
These frame drops when I turn are really annoying. I didn't realize. I zoned out. That's so annoying. It's good enough. It's good enough. That's all I had to do, and I would have saved. Yeah, I guess.
James arrived at Vickerstown Station and was feeling
That's really
pleased with himself.
frustrating.
He had collected all the mail and tried his best to make up for lost time. Percy was already there waiting for him, and so was Sir Topham Hatt. James was worried what he would say about him not being patient and waiting for the mail. "Ah, there you are, James," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I've heard from several of the station masters that you've done a good night's work," Sir Topham Hatt smiled.
I've also heard that there was a small incident at Wellsworth Station, he added. But you put things right and have made sure that all the mail arrived on time. You have once again proved to me that you are a really useful engine, and a first-class one at that.
Well done, James, puffed Percy excitedly. James felt so proud, he thought his boiler would burst.
That's okay though. It's good enough to upload, it's good enough to be a first run. Probably the first one I'll beat PB wise though.